the dissenting opinions in the comments down below. You need to read more. If you're not reading, you don't know. Okay? Bye.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Exploration series. My name is Ben, and today I am joined with the illustrious Gardnsound.
I like illustrious.
Yeah.
Not a normal adjective, but I like it.
You got to try to find a creative adjective for everything. So Gardner is visiting me in the studio, and we've been having some good talks, and I've wanted to do some creative exploration stuff. I love these interviews. So Gardner, why don't you tell us a little bit about... Let's just break everything in my studio first.
Yeah. First thing I'm going to do is break stuff, and then we can talk.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Talk about yourself. Where are you from?
Oh, man. Myself. My favorite subject. I'm from Atlanta via Charleston. So I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, and I live in Atlanta. I've been there for almost 4 years now. And I'm actually here in Minneapolis on a whim, kind of hanging out after Gear Fest, which was a couple days ago in Fort Wayne. So that's why I'm rolling through and kind enough to have me over here. But I have a small YouTube channel. It's we just hit 10,000 subscribers a couple days ago.
Congrats!
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
It's I got 10,000 people to click a button and not click it again. That's what I tell people now. And I do music related things, funny jokes, funny faces, and
voices.
Yep. Got a couple of characters. The
cat is going to town.
The roster of characters grows every week.
Okay, let's just blow this candle out then.
Yeah, are cats flammable?
Parts of them are.
Yeah.
Let's not find out which ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, YouTube channel. Where do you find that?
Well,
on YouTube. Yeah. But
I was gonna go there. I was like, would be a smart ass or no? Yeah, it's youtube.com/Gardnsound. You can just find me as Gardnsound. That's one of my biggest problems. Actually, it's not very searchable. It's GARDNSOUND.
Yep.
Gardnsound.
Yes. Highly recommend it.
I got booked one time as Soundgarden.
Really?
Yeah. That confusion happens.
I never made that connection.
Yeah. So they spelled it wrong on and a couple people showed up expecting like Soundgarden, and I'm wondering like where the disconnect was, because this was like some college bar. And I'm like, Soundgarden isn't showing up at a college bar. So who's more watered down, right? The people showing up expecting Soundgarden at group therapy in Columbia, South Carolina, or the person putting Gardnsound, right, as Soundgarden on the bill with a bunch of other DJs. Like there's like 3 DJs like Slammin' Aaron and Too Tall Tom, Soundgarden. Like that's not a good bill. Like it's not even if it was like a national tour, like that's just a bad mix of acts right there.
Or it makes somebody's career.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have a Bandcamp and stuff too,
right?
I guess you can find. Is most of your music on YouTube, or do you kind of split it up?
No, I do both. So
okay.
I always put up. See, because I'm not about like making people go through a paywall to listen to something.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I'd rather people listen to it than have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So all my music is available on both YouTube and Bandcamp, and a lot of it's beginning to be available on Spotify.
Thanks to DistroKid, everybody.
Yeah. So DistroKid.
That was a big thing for a lot of YouTubers about 2 months ago. Where
shout out to Dan.
Everybody got contacted by DistroKid, which in the end is good because I really love their service, and it seems like you're really digging it too.
Yeah, and it's not bad at all. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
So.
Not sponsored by DistroKid.
No.
But I totally agree with you. Like the whole paywall thing, where it's just like, even just like listen to my song or download my song for like a SoundCloud like follow or something. It's just like it's so disingenuous to like expect people to do all of this stuff before they get to like your content.
Yeah.
Because I feel that's like putting your content on this pedestal where, like, oh, this stuff's so good, you have to follow me to be able to actually listen to it.
Well, I mean, that and my music's also become kind of a side attraction. It was my focus when I started YouTube, but recently, over the past year, I'd say my How to Make series has been my most popular. So that's what, if you've seen my face before, It's probably because you clicked on a Joji or a Rich Brian video, who previously known as Rich Chiga. Good marketing move on his part, changing that name. Anyway, those videos are what's getting people to click on the channel and not my music, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, educational stuff is huge.
Right. So I mean, I'd rather people come to the channel for the right reason and not make them, go through a paywall to listen to what is now my hobby, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean the whole thing with my channel. I just got to get a picture of this cat right now.
You got to get a picture of this cat
Jesus
right now.
Christ.
For those of you who are listening at home.
I'm putting this in the video.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Get you too.
We've got a cat. It's currently laying next to an ATR1 Model 1 and Terry's auto-tune. Oh man, I've been auto-tuned the whole time, haven't I?
I think so.
Because I was gonna put it on bypass. Ah, shit.
Whatever.
There we go. This is what I really sound like.
Now I'm curious. We'll have to check that out after we're done recording.
Do you want to start it over?
No,
Why not?
because this is funnier.
Okay.
Listen, professionalism is not really what I'm doing here. Like before when I started YouTube, like I wanted to be like, this is professional. I want to sit down and I want to talk about things and I want to be serious. And the more YouTube and just like more I put myself out there in general, it's like nobody cares. People want to be entertained more than educated, and
yeah.
you can definitely do both at the same time. But I was saying, like, a long time ago, it's like 2 years ago, I made the How to Use FamiTracker series, and that's still the biggest thing on my YouTube channel. Even now, I still get most of my views from that series, even though it's not necessarily relevant. Because I think there's been a couple like updates to FamiTracker, and it's like, but people still watch it, so it thanks for that.
The majority of my views come from throwing a dildo at the wall and matching it up with Queen songs.
What's one of the joys of getting a P.O. box, though?
Yeah. Yeah, the dildo is probably my favorite P.O. box gift. We've received a few more, and to everyone who's sending me dildos, here's the thing. I like them. And I have a shelf of them, okay? It's so if you think you're getting me, joke's on you. They're treasures. Trophies, if you will.
Yeah. So, like, what compelled you to start your YouTube channel?
SoundCloud wasn't cutting it. I wasn't really getting any traction with stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try it out. Actually, Caroline will tell you that's my wife. She'll say this. The brainwave for the YouTube channel came while we were watching Casey Neistat and his original vlog. A couple years ago, and basically we got to the end of an episode, and I looked at Caroline and I said, "I could do that." That's how it started.
You're 365? Yeah.
That was the first thing I did, like actively put out on the channel. Was just all of a sudden I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a daily vlogger now.
See you later.
Bye." And so I did.
Yeah, and I like, as much as I love SoundCloud for like the service it provides, I feel like it's not really good for organic exposure.
Yeah.
Like people will find you and then they'll follow you, but it's really hard for like to get a huge like following that's actually dedicated to expanding your audience, I guess.
And it's only like 64 kilobits, right?
Yeah.
That's all you get. It's a terrible stream. All you get is 64 kilobits. I want the high quality shit.
It's
killing me.
Scared the cat there. Well, that and like you can only have 2 hours of content on there, and unless you want to pay $150 a year.
No, and I don't want to pay anything because nobody's paying me.
Exactly. Where I can put stuff on YouTube and nobody watches it, but I still get like 5 cents a year from it.
Yeah, here's an idea. Let's charge artists to put their content out. That's a great idea. Whose idea was that? They're sitting around the table like, guys, I think we could tap into people's narcissism and get money from them.
I really think that they started SoundCloud and they're just like, oh, this is really fucking expensive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like hosting all of this audio and then like distributing it. It's like,
dude, they haven't turned a profit since they started.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with SoundCloud, and I don't mind ripping on it because I have videos out there that rip on SoundCloud. This is not a reflection of Ben's opinions at all. I got to put that
I have
disclaimer.
videos ripping on SoundCloud too. I stopped my service about 6 months ago.
Well, I'll quit holding back then. So SoundCloud's garbage. And the main reason it's garbage is because there's nothing to look at, and the design of the site itself is boring. It's like IKEA for music. It's like, I understand the minimalist aspect. I understand that you want to kind of clear out everything so people are only focusing on the audio, but I don't. It's 2018. There's a little 500 by 500. This is like basically quoting one of my videos. 500 by 500 picture is not going to cut it.
Yeah, for your
right?
icon, like the icon that
Yeah.
you upload for the
And it's the restrictions on bandwidth, right? You know, so it only streams 64 kilobits a second, which is going to be like a really noisy sound anyway. You're not hearing something the way it was intended to be heard. The pictures are all compressed and grainy. I mean, it's pension pennies at every corner, and then they have the audacity
to charge you for it.
Yes, for a professional, you know, quote unquote pro account, which is like, no, if you're a professional, you're gonna have your own website, and it's gonna be something through like, you know, a service like Bandcamp where you can upload a high quality file and people can download OGG, FLAC, Wave,
Yeah.
etc. And it's
Or these days you just post it on streaming. You just post it on Spotify
yeah,
or
and,
you know, Google Music or whatever.
and SoundCloud has been real vicious in the past about deleting people's content without notification.
Yeah.
And they'll and just stuff like that. I've had it with them.
Yeah.
Like, because I had them for almost a 10-year
Oh, really?
period. Yeah, I got the first, what was it, 2009. It was like part of their beta program, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
It was either 2009 or 2010. And yeah, I remember getting the account and being like, oh, this is going to be great. And it went well for about a year. And then everything dropped off. And then I paid for a pro account for a while. And here's the thing. I surpassed my metrics on SoundCloud. Like the first 8 years of my SoundCloud's account life, I surpassed all of the metrics in 2 months on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
because the organic reach is so much bigger there.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
huge.
like post music and people want to listen to music.
It's huge. And at that time, SoundCloud was also becoming a joke. Like,
yeah, it really was.
like it's like a meme. It's like, hey, check out my SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like every time like a Twitter post gets popular, it's like, I don't have a SoundCloud, but you can like donate here or whatever.
Right. So I think it was a combination of all that, and it just still strikes me as weird that people take it seriously. Like, I know a couple of artists, I'm not going to name anybody,
Yeah.
that take their SoundCloud pages very seriously, and I'm like, you know, just kind of trying to figure out why. Like, I understand that's where your primary audience is, but there's better things you could do. I
Yeah.
deleted mine, by the way. I made a video about it. I just straight up deleted it one day. I was like, I'm tired of worrying about this, and I just deleted it.
Yeah, mine's still up on the free account, but that's mostly because I offer loops like for download, like for game developers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like the super easy way to get out there and just like, hey, if you want a loop, just search like free game loops on SoundCloud. You'll find my stuff.
You know, it's funny. I do have a profile for Whitey McWhiterson, which is one of my characters who's a rapper. And it is tongue-in-cheek that he has a SoundCloud profile, but I will be uploading the full mixtape to SoundCloud before I upload it anywhere else, just as a joke.
That's awesome.
So if everybody's wondering, yes, it's a joke.
That's awesome.
But there's a lot of work to be done. I have to write some lyrics. I have to master the songs. I have to actually record the vocals in a studio because I'm not recording vocals. No. Hell no.
You're doing it all professional. It's awesome.
I want somebody whose job it is to record vocals to record my vocals. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. Yeah, I mean, like all of the stuff I record is just in this room, and it's
Yeah.
not sonically, it's not the best.
I mean, like,
And,
let's pretend I'm trying to cater an event. I don't know how to make a souffle. I'm gonna buy one, and we'll just we'll go
Microwave
from there.
it?
Right. But I'll do the majority of the rest of the decoration, etc. And it'll still be my catering. But
yeah,
I'm not about to try to make a souffle and waste my time.
yeah. How do you write lyrics? That's kind of a broad question, but I'm like genuinely curious about this.
When it's something poppy, like for Gardnsound, I can kind of slam out lyrics and change words around. And Caroline's actually a big help with that because she's a music therapist, so she does a lot of text painting.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to classical, 18th century type of, okay, how does the line sound? What words fit best with it? And there's pop conventions you can follow to actually, mechanically and formulaically create music. But for some
a book, you can keep talking.
yeah. I mean, there's guides for how to do it. For Whitey, it's more organic. Like, and this has been the biggest challenge and reason why it hasn't come out yet is that the hip hop lyrics and the hip hop community is so much more poetic than pop.
Yeah, it's really surprising, like how much poetry and how much like visual stuff you can get out of that. So that's the book I've been starting
Writing
to
better
read.
lyrics. No, this is great. Yeah, and I've got one David Byrne's book, How Music Works.
Oh, I have
that yeah, I've been reading.
really good.
It's great. So this book, along with that, I've got that on my shelf as well.
Yeah.
But so Whitey, if we could talk about it for just a second longer.
Dude, it's your show.
Whitey, I want people to know that Whitey McWhiterson as the name is where the joke stops. And the reason, and the reason I did the project was I wanted to explore hip hop and see whether or not I could do it, because it's not something traditionally that white dudes do.
Yeah.
There is definitely that if you look at the demographics of who's a hip hop artist, who's a rapper, it's heavily weighted toward male African American, and I wanted to learn how to do it. I wanted to know how difficult is this? Is this something? Because I used to slam it a lot and be like, "Oh, hip hop, it's easy," but now that I'm trying to do it, no, it ain't. It's hard.
Yeah.
And the more I listen to, of course, there's the genre stuff. There's stuff like Migos, where it's walk it like I talk it. Like, there wasn't a lot of brain power involved with those lyrics.
Yeah.
But there's artists like Run the Jewels, Andre 3000, some of Danny Brown's music, not all of Danny Brown's music. Savon DePaul, he's kind of an underground guy. He's coming up right now. But there's a lot of like legit, like Eric B and Rakim, like old school hip hop like that. Dilated Peoples, Jurassic 5, like real hip hop where it's like, okay, this is poetry.
Yeah.
To a beat.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's
so
like well thought out. It's not just like shake your butt, shake your butt.
No.
Yeah.
No, and that's something I didn't appreciate before starting this that I really do now. So it's funny, I had 3 or 4 demos and I was sending them around to different studios to see who would let me book time to kind of help me out with some lyrics and stuff like that. And the 2 of them I sent out, people were like, "This is whack. Like, you need to re-examine what's going on here." And I had a couple of people like really slam me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and it made me reconsider it. And then I went back, I retooled the lyrics, and I approached it through writing poetry instead of trying to write catchy pop lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sent them back the demos, and 2 or 3 of the guys were like, "This is much better."
Nice.
Like they were like, "Okay, I can see you're actually trying to do something. You appreciate what's going on here." So that was really encouraging. So that really actually slowed down the process a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right, because I was like, okay, I want to turn over the project. I want to get something else out. Because originally it was going to take me a month. That was in October.
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
Yeah. So that's what's happened. So if people are like, "Where's Whitey?" That's why I tell them it'll be done when it's done.
Yeah.
Because I'm not rushing this because I want it to be respectful. Because I don't want to be just another, pardon the term, Whitey McWhiterson, intruding on something that isn't part of my culture.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this the other day where it's just like, there's other rappers like Lil Dicky where like his whole persona is kind of the joke rather than just the name.
Yeah.
Where it's just like he's more of like the Weird Al of rap music.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like,
and I love his music.
Yeah.
It's weird and dumb, but it's not like respecting is the wrong word, but it's not taking into account like the history of hip hop.
It's not always trying to say something.
Yeah, exactly.
The message is surface level.
Yeah.
And I want some of my Whitey tunes are not surface level. I have one called "The Reality of the Situation." Oh, excuse me, let me turn my rude phone off.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have some that are, the lyrics go a bit deeper than talking about aliens and hooking up with women, like Little Dicky's "Pillow Talk." Which is a great video. I like the video more than the lyrics.
It is a very strange video. I do remember watching that. Yeah. So yeah, like, were you like directly inspired by anybody for that album, or was it just the genre in general?
The first hip hop album that I was allowed to have, because my parents kind of censored what I was allowed to listen to and not listen to early on, was ironically "Speaker Box" by Outkast, which has a couple of songs that are a little filthy, but I mean,
oh yeah.
Andre 3000 is just absolutely one of my favorite like human beings of all time, and it makes me really sad that he's not writing music anymore.
Yeah.
But he's a musician that is gifted at lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he approaches it as like his flow. It's ridiculous. He squeezes in so many words into a short period of time, and it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is to do? Like, Eminem sometimes F's that up, but I've never heard a 3000 track where I'm like, this is too much. Like he nails it every time. It's ridiculous. The precision is ridiculous. He's right on the beat. Like he's never off. Like it's wild.
I need to listen to more of that
how
stuff.
good he is. Yeah.
I'm sure you can offer me some suggestions.
Probably. Taste is relative though, man.
No, I generally I like pretty much anything. Like the pop country music. Like the pop country music doesn't really do it for me.
Like like who makes fun of that? Bo Burnham.
The one where it's just like all about your trucks and
tall grass, cold beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't do it for me. But pretty much everything else does. Like I grew up listening to classical music because that's what my dad was into.
Right.
Like he played a little bit for the Minnesota State Orchestra and mostly just other orchestras. So I grew up on classical music and like 80s jazz, 90s or 70s jazz. So it's like I wasn't really exposed to pop music until later in my life, like high school. So,
Okay.
But yeah, like I like pretty much most genres.
What was your first CD? All right, kids, listen up.
No,
Back
okay.
in the day, we used to have CDs.
Yeah,
right?
these weird plastic like cylinders
before the internet.
Yeah, right. I believe, and I might be wrong, but I believe my first CD was Transport by Paul Oakenfold.
Nice.
Yeah. So I could have done worse.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what my first tape was, my first cassette, because I used to buy those too, because I'm old.
I never had cassettes.
Oh no, I think my first cassette might have been a Weird Al album.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s, so like I bought cassettes, and then then there were CDs, and my car didn't have a CD player, so you had to get like the external one, like the shitty ones.
Yeah.
Then you had to plug that into your cigarette lighter so it has power, and then you had to plug that into your tape player so you could actually get audio. And it's like your whole passenger seat was just like this
mess of wires.
Yeah, mess of wires. It's like a studio.
You go over one bump and it skips.
Yeah, because it's like back in the day, the reader that like it only read like half a second ahead.
Yeah.
So if you hit like bumpy roads or something, it just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And like these days, it reads like.
Oh, you guys have bumpy roads around here. Let me tell you.
Oh
what.
yeah, road construction all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first albums, I think, were like Weird Al and trance. So it's a good mix there.
That's a trip.
Yeah. My dad had a lot of like jazz CDs and stuff, and
All
a
right.
lot of vinyls, which were unfortunately like wrecked in a basement flood. That still kills me because he had like tons and tons of like just classical.
Yeah,
that
I noticed you got quite the collection over here.
I would have loved to like have all those and just chop them up.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So like your day-to-day schedule, like when you're working on Whitey McWhiterson or like just working in general, because I know a lot of your focus is on YouTube as well. Like, How do you keep focused on all of this stuff?
I don't do as good of a job of it as I could.
That's fine. Like, I don't think anybody does.
So I do video editing for a couple of YouTubers. Most notably would be Mr. Bill, which is live.mrbillstunes.com.
Yeah.
I'm plugging the website because it's an excellent website.
No, I plug Mr. Bill all the time. He was a super inspiration for me. He's the one that got me started streaming and probably started doing YouTube in general.
Yeah.
Like, he is a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah.
And Christine as well. She loves his music.
It's dope.
Yeah.
His attention to detail is intense.
Yeah.
But it's dope. So for him, a couple other ones that I don't know if I should mention or not because they're not really on brand. But
no, that's fine.
And so that takes up a good amount of time. And then the question becomes, all right, so that's how I make cash, right?
Yeah.
So the real struggle is how do I balance my checkbook and my creative pursuits?
Yeah.
So I work 1 day a week at a restaurant. So on Mondays, I'm a chef, and then Tuesday through Sunday, I either am editing, recording a video, or working on music. And unfortunately, the last thing I do is work on music.
Yeah.
So editing and making a video, if the video is related to music, I get a chance to work on some music, which is fun. It just is what's the largest priority? So I schedule things out on the calendar, meaning that I have, okay, here's what I'm doing today, here's what I'm doing tomorrow, and here's kind of the rough deadlines for things. and I have a big series of like 3 or 4 whiteboards.
Yeah.
That I use to jot things down and kind of more or less do like an agile workflow.
Yeah.
For timeline based stuff, right? So things that have hard deadlines. I try to release 2 videos a week. A bigger video on Monday typically, and something a little bit less important on Thursday. But if you're a subscriber, both are really important to watch. And
well, yeah, there's a whole nother talk about YouTube and how they're fucking everything up right now.
Yeah,
but I mean it's so ambiguous. Like there's no rhyme or reason for what they're doing. They probably know what they're doing to some degree, but the lack of communication is very frustrating, because the problem is if they did communicate it, then people would start gaming the system again. Right. And like there's no way to find an even middle ground there. They just have to make the changes. Yeah. And then people have to live with it.
I think I wouldn't get things done if I didn't have my studio and my house set up in a way that I could record at any point in time. Mm-hmm. So I have my camera with me like almost all the time. Mm-hmm. And whenever like inspiration strikes, I'm ready to turn it on and go. Yeah. And then I record hours of footage that don't ever make it into the video. Because I kind of use it like a doctor would use a tape recorder. You know, like you're walking around and he's just recording notes and stuff. Yeah. My doctor was super old school when I was a kid, like my general practitioner, and he had like a little teeny tape recorder, and he would talk into it while he was like, examining me and stuff. It was super cool. Anyway, so that's I guess that's how it works. Did I answer your question?
I don't even remember what the question was. Workflow. And you were talking about whiteboards before, and I like asked you like, where do I put a whiteboard in this room? Because I would love to do that.
It takes up wall space. Unfortunately, they're not very good looking.
Yeah.
They're kind of businessy, but it means
no, and I have one over there.
Yeah.
I just don't know where to put it, because I'd love to do something. I used to use Trello, and lately I haven't been using it. Yeah. Partially because it's not completely present, like always. Like in the studio, the whiteboard is great because wherever you look, there's probably a whiteboard telling you like, okay, this is what you need to do next.
It's persistent.
It keeps you on track. And Trello, you have to have it open. You have to have the tab like visible, and it's just like I used to be very diligent with that, and lately it's fallen off my radar, and it's hard to get back into that rhythm.
So that's an important thing that I want to hit on. Sometimes I'll even unplug my switch in the basement from the internet, and that's the reason why I can't use like a software task master or task keeping, because like I get lost in the screens. So like I have to have it displayed written on the wall,
and physically writing it down.
So you've got 2 screens.
Yeah,
I have 1. I do everything possible to keep my eyes off it.
Yeah.
Like
there are definitely times where I just turn this one off.
It doesn't cause me anxiety or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like I don't get things done if I'm looking at the screen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I have my switch right here. I might try doing that, just unplugging it once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I got to work now.
Yeah, because it's not going to goof up the network in the rest of my house if I unplug it, so I just do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Keeping on task is so hard. And I think everybody struggles with that to some degree, though. Like, there's no perfect way of handling it because the solution is different for everybody. Yeah. Like, some people are just like, yeah, I get up at 8 and I do my stuff and then I'm done. Like, I read, there's another book that I read recently called On Writing by Stephen King, and he talked about his process. And it's just like, his process is he wants to write 5,000 words a day, or some number. It might be more or less than that. But it's just like, I start at 8, and when I'm done with 5,000 words, I'm done. So that might be 10 o'clock. That might be like 3 in the afternoon. And it's just like, when I'm done, then I'm done. And then it's like, I like the idea of him just stopping, not necessarily stopping mid-sentence, but maybe mid, like, idea. Because that allows you to sit and stew on that idea more, and then you can work on it the next day. Because there's always that time, like a conversation that you had with somebody, and like 2 hours later, you're like, oh, I should have said that. That would have been so cool. And it's like having things stop mid-sentence, like out of your control a little bit, that might give you more time to just like work and like turn that idea over in your head. No, I got off topic.
No, you're good. But that's similar to what I do with the whiteboards. Yeah. So I have 2 lists on the big whiteboard. And one of them is like goals for the week. And the other one's goals for the day.
Nice.
So they're in no particular order.
Yeah.
So I write down all the things in my head that are like, okay, I want to get this done this week. And it could be anything. I'm talking cut the grass is on the list too. Yeah. So like things that are non-musical are on the list. So like I put all this stuff on the list, and then I go, what do I want to do today?
Yeah,
I just start picking things out of the list, and I'm finding that I'm usually done with my list by Thursday evening.
Yeah.
So then I have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing too, and something that I wanted to talk about on creative exploration, where it's just like don't make a list that takes up 100% of your time, because you will burn out and die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's what I did before. I wrote lists down that were more work than the actual day.
Too ambitious.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you just need to write down a simple list, and then it's, okay, I'm done. I can actually chill out for 2 hours or whatever. And it's like, you have to learning that middle ground is so hard, and it's so personal too. It's like, okay, I know this takes 30 minutes. I know this takes 2 hours. I can do this afternoon, and then I'm gonna just chill out because all these other ones are too big. And
I know a couple artists who struggle with, me included, with so on off days I'll sit down and try to write, or you know, I'll open up Ableton and start to hack something. That's not relaxing anymore.
No.
So for me, it's really important to, and this trip that I'm on right now is actually helping a lot.
good, yeah.
Just getting away from clocking myself and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, what's one of the bigger problems you've run into lately? Like either creatively or just like workflow wise, or like
numbers.
What do you, numbers?
Yeah, we talked about this. I'm focusing too much on views and likes and dislikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Getting lost in metrics. Trying to, because I'm starting to look at it as, okay, I'm trying to grow my brand. I'm trying to grow a business. Kind of riding a hype wave right now, and it's can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's all we can say about that. Like just watching the numbers and all of that stuff, it sucks so much.
I think everybody focuses too much on that.
Yeah.
You don't make good art if you're focused on results.
Yeah.
It's not how art works.
Yeah, and I've definitely said this before, but I don't know if you've heard it, but I feel that art, like as an artist, the joy you should get is the actual process of making things.
Yeah.
And the actual art is a byproduct of that other people can enjoy. Where like I like the music that I put out, but after I put it out, I don't care. Like it was my baby until I set it free, and then like at that point it's just like it's a thing. It's not my thing, it's a thing.
Yeah. It exists in its own sphere.
Yeah.
And art has to be observed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
The big A, right? That exists between the observer and the creation.
Yeah.
I can't control how somebody observes my art.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, case in point, I had a video. It was a Bill Wirtz imitation, and I think the lyrics I chose for it was a 10-second song. The lyrics I chose for it was, "I wish I could just fucking die," and a lot of people took that the right way, the way I intended, which is humor, and several people took it the opposite way, and so that, you know, and they sent me very nasty emails like, "How dare you say this?" And so that's but that's my point. Like, art exists between the observer and the creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't control how somebody's going to perceive something. That. But
Yeah.
I don't think art necessarily has to be fun.
No.
I think sometimes good art has come out of pain.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean like not enjoying something, but sometimes there's an art to like forcing a peg through a square hole.
Yeah, and I mean it's expressing something that's not
Backwards. Square peg, round hole. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Might be.
The other way would be a lot easier.
Yeah. That's so hard. Can't get it through. I don't understand.
That's a bismuth.
Yeah, this is a bismuth.
Those are cool, aren't they?
Then has a lot of cool rocks over here.
Yeah.
Next to the desk I'm sitting at, and I'm messing with them.
Yeah, those things are super cool. Just because they grow naturally like that.
No way.
Yeah, that's how they grow naturally. You can actually, I think,
This looks like that fractally acid trip art.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks like pixel art. Almost.
Yeah, like Android Jones or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, that dude's awesome.
Yeah.
But like Christine was talking about those, and you can actually, I think you can melt them down, and they just kind of reform
As they
like kind of
cool.
Yeah.
What?
And that's just like the structure of the mineral. That's just how it just forms. It forms naturally like that.
What's the word for that? It's I'll think of it. We'll keep talking, and I'll just interject with it.
Just randomly.
I'll turn the auto tune back on.
Oh man, but yeah, like I love the process of making art, but at some point Like you have to figure out like, am I still enjoying this kind of thing? It's like, and that's when you take a break. Like you will start enjoying it again, but burnout is a real thing. That it's burnout is a lot like depression. Really, it's something that sneaks up on you, and then when you have it, then it's just like, now what do I do? And yeah, but unlike depression, burnout, you just kind of walk away from your creative stuff for a while, and then you usually get better. I'm super off topic.
No, that's cool.
No, and that's why I love doing this stuff. I just need to figure out why. Oh yeah, well, this kind of segues really great into the next question. Is
Perfect.
what is one of the main reasons you think why people fail at like making videos or making music?
Because they approach it with the wrong intentions, and this is something I've talked with at length. Talked about at length with a bunch of creators, and so I have this idea that you can sort of implant your intention into art in an obvious manner. And again, whether or not people read it correctly is not your problem really, or my problem really. But I can be intentional with. Oh man, we're about to talk about the 4 agreements. You ever read that book?
I have not.
All right, so there's a cool, I'd say it's like a new age kind of spiritual book called The 4 Agreements. It's really short. If anybody would like to read it, it's very good. It's up there with there's a C.S. Lewis book that's up there with called The Great Divorce in terms of like most important spiritual texts of the 19th and 20th century, 21st century. So yeah, C.S. Lewis, great writer, Great Divorce. Go read it. It's very short. And 4 Agreements, definitely read that.
Cool. I'll put a link to the description in the below.
These
for Kindle or whatever.
These all fall under my category of hippie Christian must reads.
Dude, those like some of those things are really inspirational. Like just because they come from a weird place doesn't mean that that they don't have value.
So they talk a lot about being intentional with your speech, or being excellent with your speech, and being impeccable with your word. So there's a similar concept of I could be impeccable with my intention when I write. So if, for instance, I'm extremely angry and I want my intention to be, letting go of an emotion, or if I want my intention to be sending a message of why I'm upset about something constructively, then I could be really intentional about it and create something that has that embedded in it, right?
Yeah.
Or if my intention is to like learn a piece of software, I can be super intentional about it. This is an experiment. Like Ravel did that, and so some of his pieces were just experiments in like sonic combinations, and so I like to walk into the studio with my intention in my head, like, okay, today I'm going to make a piece that it sounds like, or is a addendum to, or something like that. So that idea of writing with intention.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And like that's what I do with the 2-hour track challenge. I have a list of challenges or intentions in a different way of putting it. Some of them is just like make something in like 13/8 times, something just really weird.
Right.
Last week, somebody on the Discord channel was just messing around, like joking around with chords, and like they spouted out like a D flat major suspend, like just this whole long thing. And the challenge was to turn that into like that one chord.
Yeah,
and
like what is this?
Yeah, put that chord in there and try to include it into a song. And it's just like having that limitation of choice actually making things a lot easier, because without that choice, you don't have to worry about everything. You just have to worry about, how do I make this work in this?
Right.
So I really like that. I'm definitely going to check out that book. Yeah, the next one I have on this list. So if you only had like $100, granted, if you had like a computer and stuff already, but if you had $100 to spend and you wanted to start writing music or doing YouTube stuff, either you can choose one or the other, because I know you can't do both on $100. Like where would you start if you wanted to do one of those?
If you only had $100,
or on a budget, like maybe 150, take out a loan, sell a kidney or something.
sell some plasma.
Yeah. So I guess first, like, did you want to talk about YouTube or like making music? Because you do both very well, and it's like,
oh man, thanks. I see. I conflate them down to the same thing now. I don't separate them very much.
You know what? That's true.
the for $100, $150, what's the best use of your money?
I guess to be fair, you don't need anything to post anything on YouTube these days.
Because
OBS is free.
Yeah.
And like if you already have the software to make the music, which granted, like you can get like Reaper or something for free. So I guess like if you had $100 and you wanted to start making music, like where would you start?
Go to the pawn shop or
Nice.
somewhere where there's a lot of used gear and play with some things, and whatever sparks your creativity, like that's the thing. Because it's not going to be just one thing. Like I'm not going to sit here and go get a guitar or get a MIDI controller.
Yeah.
Get something that you're like, okay, this works for me, because there's so many options out there. For me, the thing that like gets me like noodling and messing around with music every time without fail is my APC 40, and I put it in like a step sequencer mode. Or the Behringer Model D, which that's $300, but I'm betting in about 3 or 4 months we'll be able to find some used ones for half price on Reverb.com.
Oh yeah.
This is not sponsored by Reverb.com. I've spent way too much money on Reverb.com.
Reverb.com for all of you. I get it.
But yeah, so it's a dual answer. One, buy used. There's no reason why anybody needs new gear. There are a whole bunch of people out there who have already made the mistake of buying new gear that are now selling it.
Yeah, it's like a car.
And it's barely used. I mean, for instance, this piece of gear right here that I'm now talking through as Auto-Tune was $100 at a flea market. And it's probably the best $100 I've ever spent. I'm having a great time with this piece of crap. So, I mean, that's my point. Like there's no reason to spend $300+ on Antares Auto-Tune software when I can go to the flea market and buy the old module or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I have so much gear in my studio, and it's the cheapest stuff that I use the most, honestly. Like Roland modules, old Korg things, just stuff you find at the thrift store. Like honestly, like and I want to do a series eventually called Production on a Budget, where it's like going through how little can I spend and how cool music I can make. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like this melodica that I have, this thing I use in probably half of the 2-hour track challenges, because you can take this and run it through a guitar rig.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, legit, I've used a kazoo on a lot of my songs. This, I actually 3D printed this like last week. I was just like, can I do this? And I could.
You 3D printed a kazoo?
Yeah, dude.
Get out of here.
Yeah. But it's just like, those are super cheap. And if you are able to run it through processing, and like all of that processing is available through like for free through the DAWs that you can get, it's like you can do just about anything with almost nothing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be really expensive. And some of the expensive gear, like the breath controller, is super fun to play with, but those are like convenience. Those are basically just turning a lot of inputs like breath and bite and all that other stuff into knobs. Like that way you have more of your hands free.
Do you know what I just found out about the other day?
What?
I think I told you this at dinner, but there is an entire community of people that are building their own Eurorack modules.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. Yeah.
So there's even a DIY way to do the most expensive thing in electronic music, which is Eurorack. Again, like, dude, I mean, I've got friends that have $30,000 Eurorack like setups.
I can't imagine that.
It's like twice as much as my car's worth.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, it is fun, way cool looking, but like, dude, that's a lot of cash.
It is.
And you could be And you could be. I just met somebody the other day named Dan Giffen who gave me a talking to about how important it is to spend money on marketing. For every $1 he spends on a product, he spends $2 marketing it, which is a Steve Jobs quote.
I need to talk to that person.
I'll hook you up with him. He's a nice guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would rather, now that I know what I know, save money on my upfront gear cost, my upfront expense for stuff, and I would spend double that money marketing, which I'm gonna do with Whitey actually. I'm thinking about buying a billboard in downtown Atlanta.
Dude, that would be so cool.
Just cause, man. I don't care how much it's worth. I want to see my name on a billboard.
And then you're like in your drawing.
Yeah, I mean, that's an experience I can take with me for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And like, you can't buy that level of satisfaction.
Oh yeah, and exactly. Like, the whole reason why I made Color Jumper, it wasn't to get rich. It was just like, I want a game on Steam. Like, I know how to do this stuff. Let's see if I can actually do it. Yeah. And it's like the same thing with the billboard. It's just like, I can do this. Let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
And marketing was the big downfall for Color Jumper too, where it's just like, it's a good game, just nobody knows about it.
It's a great game.
You haven't played it yet.
I've watched all the videos. It looks like a great game.
Well, we should record.
It looks like
you.
a very frustrating.
Yeah, we should record you playing it for 10 minutes and see.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a good video. Gardnsound plays Color Jumper for the first time. It's just me going, ah, shit,
Yeah,
fuck,
that'd actually be
losing it.
That'd be a pretty fun video, actually.
This game's too hard. I can't do it.
So yeah, as you were growing as a channel, like, were there any mistakes that you made along the way that, like, any wisdom that you can impart to people who are just starting out?
Lose your cool off camera. So,
Oh yeah.
I'm a very visceral person, which is a fancy word for saying I don't have very good control over my emotions, and and so there were a couple of videos I recorded out of just pure frustration, where and I've since removed one of them and put up another video where it was like, all right, listen, I kind of took this video down because of this reason. I wasn't thinking clearly. I find that my opinions are a lot more concrete and easier to comprehend and ingest if I actually take a minute to think about it.
Yeah.
Instead of just putting a video out where it's just a reaction of what's the word for it? Vitriol. You know, just like, can't believe the chain smokers have so many. I can't believe the fucking chain smokers have so many views, and I'm sitting here working on this stupid track, and nobody's watching the fucking videos. Like that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where that character comes from. By the way, is me making fun of how I used to talk, like about stuff. I just do it at a high pitched, voice. But like that's yeah. So twofold. If you're gonna lose your cool, do it off camera. Learn to make fun of yourself, because you're gonna. The problem is, videotaping yourself as much as you will if you try to get into YouTube, you're going to see things in yourself that you don't like. Mm-hmm. Don't beat yourself up over that. Just look at yourself and accept who you are and think about, all right, how can I go forward in my life and audit this behavior?
Yeah.
You don't have to continue being the way you are. If you're dissatisfied with something about yourself, change it.
Yeah.
You know? And also be able to say, like, hey, fucked up. Like, I messed up. Like, I am a human being, and I fuck up things, and this is what that looks like, and I'm sorry I did that, and because people are giving their time to you, which is the most valuable resource in the history of humankind.
Yep.
You don't get it again. Once it's gone, it is gonzo. And so I have a very deep respect for the people that watch my content, and when I mess something up, I want to take a minute to say, I'm sorry for wasting your time. That's a valuable resource. You're not getting that time back.
Yeah. Yeah. And like on the point of you talking about improving yourself, like when I started streaming, I used to watch all of my streams and just point out all the stuff that I didn't like about it. And then when I stream next time, I tried to change my behavior because there was a lot of stuff where I got really frustrated sometimes. It's like, there's no reason to be this pissed off about a song. And so it's like you temper that as things go, and you become a better person because of it.
I've definitely become a better person through this.
Yeah. It's like that's one of the things that I like the most about streaming and just doing YouTube stuff. It's like it's gotten me much more comfortable talking to people. Yeah. Like I used to never talk to people. Yeah. At all. Like I barely talk to my wife or my parents and like all that stuff. And it's like it got me more comfortable like having the ideas in my head and translating those into words that come out of my mouth. So yeah. Try streaming. Try YouTubing. It's good.
Yeah. It's free. Try it out.
Yeah. So what's the one thing that would make you think that you made it aside from financial stability?
I was just talking about this with Caroline.
Yeah.
So there are two or three YouTubers that I really like, I wouldn't say I idolize them. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm gonna do two answers here, one from YouTube and one from music.
Oh, that's cool.
We've kind of been separating those two throughout the talk. If I had a video with one of my favorite YouTubers like Gus Johnson or iDubbbz or Ethan and Ela's, right, H3H3, something like that. Like that would be like, all right, I've made it. Yeah, like I'm in one of the cool people's videos. Like it would feel that way. I mean, yeah, it's a bit like, so what?
That's not the point though.
Right.
Yeah.
With music, feeling like I've made it would be having my music like. I don't want to say having it on the radio, but like having it in a place where it's like preserved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I want to be part of the canon, Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Does
So
that make sense?
It's like recognized by some of the larger.
Sure.
Recognized might not be the right word either. But it's like just I think I know what you're saying, but I don't know how to like
Yeah.
I was just talking about how good I am wording now, and I can't talk.
Like, you know how people are always like, you know, oh, chill wave essentials, like playlists like that.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be an essential part of some sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be part of the canon. Right. I want to have my name written down somewhere where it's gonna stay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hi, Kitty. Yeah, you're back.
We've come full circle. This might be a good place to end.
Yeah. The last question that I really have is, like, do you have any resources for people who might like just be starting out? Like, any books that you read or YouTube channels that you'd recommend checking out? Or
the thing that's had the biggest impact on me is going to be definitely Mr. Bill's tutorials and his videos. So go check him out. He has a lot of stuff on YouTube that's absolutely free.
Yeah.
It's a bit dry. And I was just talking to him last night. We're buddies, so this is nothing I wouldn't say to his face. Some of the content's a bit dry, so ingest it in. And I don't mean dry as in boring. I mean it's just a lot of information.
it is.
He's a fucking genius,
And he doesn't stop either.
No.
He just keeps going.
so ingest it in small bites. If you're just getting started, don't feel like you need to be on that level right now. It's definitely I still go back and watch some videos like that I've watched several times just to make sure I understand the concept. But yeah, that's where I'd start. I'd say, listen, if you want to get something done, get it done right the first time, and just go watch the guys who know what they're talking about. Andrew Huang, if you want to feel good. So
unless you get imposter syndrome really easily, and then he'll make you feel real bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andrew Huang is an amazing artist. Like, he's definitely one of the guys that I look up to.
He's one of the guys that understands design and branding, I think, better than most. So he's very on brand. All of his videos are very stylized. He's an amazing video editor.
Yeah.
Or maybe he doesn't edit his stuff anymore.
He
I don't know.
hired somebody to edit his stuff for a while.
For a while?
I don't know if he still does.
Okay. Well, the edits are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does a lot of talking about like the condition, right?
Yeah.
So if you want advice on how to think clearer, that might be a good place to go.
Yeah.
And then in terms of other, I mean, there's this guy Ben Burns, but I mean, you know, he's kind of a weirdo. So
Yeah. He only has like 3,000 subs anyway. He's not worth. No.
Dude, I love your content, man.
Oh, thanks.
Caroline
dude.
and I watch your vids
Oh, really?
on the couch with dinner.
Oh. That's very flattering.
Doing our lives on the big screen.
Oh, I feel famous. No, that's very flattering. So yeah, like, I guess that's really the end of it. Like, where can people find you again? Just
Okay, so you can find me on YouTube for sure. It's Gardnsound, Gardnsound. But if you try to browse my videos, there's over 800 of them. It can get kind of a rat's nest. If you want music, go to gardnsound.com. If you want to join the community and get harangued a little bit, join our Discord.
Discord's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, kitty.
And if you're on Reddit and you're really into Reddit, we do have a subreddit, although the new design from Reddit broke all the CSS scripting that my artist did.
Oh, no.
Which sucks because he's amazing. And nobody can enjoy his cool theme. But you could go to old.reddit.com to see the correct way to look at the site.
Well, cool. I guess that's where we're gonna end things.
Cool.
With the cat butt. There we go. Thanks for hanging out and talking.
Anytime, bro.
Get out of my house.
We're gonna do. All right, see you.